Hey, this is Z Newell, your Pyro Passionac here in Lexington. Today's guest couldn't make it, so I thought I would pull up some stuff that's on my mind and share it with you. So feel free to kick in here as I share a little bit about what I've been going through lately with making some difficult decisions. So hey Larry, thanks for joining. The thing about making decisions, it can be really hard. This past week, I had to make a decision about what to do this weekend, and I had a very difficult choice. I've been working with a group of international people who are about to gather in Florida. I was supposed to assist with that course. Some of you may be watching this, and my heart was speaking to meeting those people from New Zealand and Finland, etc. And then I had the great opportunity good fortune or what have you to win a speaking competition, and the next level of that competition is also this weekend. So it came as a really difficult conflict for me, and I struggled and struggled with it, and I finally decided to go to the speaking competition because I couldn't back that up again and recreate it. So, but I want to go through a little bit about making difficult decisions and what's involved, okay? And some of this is in my next book, which I just finished the first draft of, so I'm very excited about that. The MQ Formula, Igniting Your Magnificence Quotient. And I'm not going to go into great detail about that, but if you follow some of these broadcasts, you've heard bits and pieces, so I'm excited to get that draft done. Within each of us, we've got two parts that are constantly working together or against one another, which is more often the case. And that is your head, and you can see on my lovely little Venn diagrams here, the question marks in your head, and then there's your heart, okay? The dynamic between these two is actually the topic of my competition speech coming up this weekend up near Cincinnati. And how it's not going to be a 5-minute solution here, but I just want to point to a couple of things that go on when we have difficult decisions to make. Okay, so we've got our head and our heart, and it's very tough for some people to actually get in and examine what's important to them in their heart. But that is really something that needs to be done before you move to the head piece, okay? Now, there's a number of tools that you can use for accessing your heart. I mean, you can just know what you love. My favorite tool is the Passion Test, which is a worldwide test for helping to identify and prioritize what your passions are in life. And those could range from anything to relationships, personal health, traveling, helping people. I mean, so many different things that people are passionate about. That's what makes each of us unique and different, right? So accessing your passions is really important, and at the same time, we have this amazing ability to trick ourselves up here, to tell ourselves stories that come up in our head. Now, the perfect situation is if you can get your head and heart talking to each other in alignment so that your passion and your purpose are running hand in hand, okay? Hey, Jason, thanks for joining. So if you can get your head and your heart in alignment, it will help you to make decisions. But more often than not, what happens is that trickster in our head turns around and tells us things that we believe to be true, but in fact, there's a little self-sabotaging, okay? These are stories and beliefs, and again, I'm not going to break this down too much in this short segment of What's Your Why, but we develop these stories and we take on these beliefs. A lot of them are very limiting or false beliefs that we've carried around with us from our family, our upbringing, our society, whatever it is. And we carry those around, and we allow those quite often to get in the way of our hearts. Okay, hey Garnett, thanks for joining. So I'm talking about the relationship between head and heart and making difficult decisions. So here's a couple of key questions that I think is important to ask yourself before I share an analogy with you that I think may help, okay? If you can't read this, I'll spell it out for you, okay? When you're trying to make a tough decision like this one that I did, it was really hard because I'm very in touch with my passions in my heart, and both things spoke to my heart. So that was really, really a challenge. What is your heart really saying to you? Okay, what is it that really makes you sing that will make you come alive? Okay, what is it that you have to give up if you go one way versus another in your decision? So we can't do it all, as much as some of us try, okay, myself included. What are you going to have to give up? You know, Seth Godin, I was listening to him on Marie Forleo TV, and Seth was saying he gave up his TV, and I gave up mine 8-9 years ago, have many more hours in the day, watch an occasional movie on Netflix, and he gave up going to meetings. And so he's got 7 hours a day, more than most people, okay? So what are you going to have to give up if you make the decision this way versus that way? And how, the other question here is, how are you going to feel if you give that up? Now, I'll chalk this one up to Tony Robbins, who calls it the helicopter test. You know, he had an opportunity to learn how to fly a helicopter at one point, trying to decide, is it worth it, isn't it worth it? So, on the one hand, what things do you have to give up? On the other hand, how are you going to feel if you do it? And also, this is a big one, if you don't do it, okay? What's your level of regret, for lack of another word, going to be if you decide to do something and you have to give up something that you can never get back, okay? So these could be big decisions, they could be little decisions. Do I ask that person out for a date? Not me, I'm married, but I'm using this as an example. Do I ask that person out on a date? And because I'll never know if I don't. Okay, so you have a little risk here. And the risk in large part is, how are you going to feel if you learn to fly a helicopter, as Tony was saying, but how are you going to feel if you don't? So what are you going to get? You know, what are going to be those benefits of, oh my God, I could just take off from my backyard and go have lunch on my island, okay? We should all wish to be able to do that. But what's it going to feel like if I could have done that but didn't? And that's particularly important when it comes to decisions that you really can't take back. They're not gonna, you can't, there's no guarantee in life that they're gonna come up again. So how are you gonna feel if you do it, trying to project yourself into that, and how are you gonna feel if you don't? Then what stories might be tripping you up about what you can or can't do in your life? Who says you can't figure that out? I mean, a friend of ours just owns an ice cream shop downtown, okay, and Bengali, and he went and became a commercial airline pilot, you know? Who says you can't do that? You put the resources and you focus your attention on it, okay? So if you have a belief that's been holding you back, where did that come from? Who told you that you could or couldn't do that? So now I want to, I don't want to make this too long, but I want to switch to something that I want to share with you that's also in my book, which is, comes out of my rock climbing experience, okay? Hey, Ryan. Comes out of my rock climbing experience, and it's called Belaying. Now, everyday person may not know that, but for you climbers out there, you know what that is. And I hope that you can see, here's a little cliff, and here's a little person climbing it, and that person at the top is attached at the bottom to a rope and anchor system, so that if the person at the top, they climb up a little and then they clip in, and then they climb a little more and they clip in. So all along the way there's little safety points. Hey Mike, thanks for checking in. All along the way you got these little safety points where you can go just a little further, and if you fall, you're only going to fall from the safety point to where you were, okay? So the process of that is called belaying, where the person on the bottom picks up the slack or gives you a little, as the case may be, as you climb from one anchor point to another, okay? And there's a lot of trust involved here, and you really have to be in sync. So the analogy here that I want to share with you, which is part of my book, the MQ Formula, has to do with, picture this, your heart is leading in your life. And if it isn't, I invite you to look at that, because my belief is that it should be, okay? Your heart's leading in your life. A lot of times people go a long distance in their life before they realize that they haven't been following their heart. They could go to school or grad school because somebody told them they thought they should follow a certain career. It sounded like a good idea. And somewhere along the way, they realize that it's not really resonating. So this is a constant process of assessing and reevaluating how your heart feels on any given path. And the partner that is belaying below the heart is your self-awareness. It's a critical tool in your mind. I'm not talking about the stories you tell yourself. I'm talking about developing the piece of your mind that notices and watches what it is that's up for you, okay? What's up for your emotions? What's coming up in your thoughts? To be monitoring this as you go and to check in with the reality of how is what I'm doing right now sitting with my heart? What charge is coming up for me emotionally or whatever? Now here's the key, okay? Life is not perfect. We can follow our hearts and follow our bliss or want to do that, and then shit happens, right? So, hey Vernon, thank you for checking in. So here's the thing is, it's not going to be perfect. Nothing is. It's a constant readjustment process. But when you slip away from your heart and you start falling into that abyss of whatever, allow yourself to notice that that's happening, okay? So instead of falling into this major drama, oh my God, this didn't go like I thought, and oh, the world's gonna fall apart, and I'm gonna fail, etc. Just notice that, bless yourself, okay? Give yourself credit for trying to get to that next piece. That's why I go to the rock climbing gym now. I'm trying to get there a couple times a week, because it's always a challenge. If it was easy, it wouldn't be challenging. I wouldn't be growing. So do you want to grow? Do you want to follow your heart? Okay, so when your heart starts to fall, your self-awareness catches it, so it only falls so far. Doesn't matter what it is, okay? Could be that you're in a beautiful relationship. Relationship is a big one for a lot of people, and it didn't work. It fell out, okay? To get perspective on yourself and notice that, you get your head and heart working in alignment. So I just wanted to give you a little bit of flavor around my book coming out, the MQ Formula. It'll be a couple of months yet. And to just talk about this head-heart struggle. It's normal that people have that. Be kind to yourself, okay? Gratitude is huge for what you do have versus what you don't have. Compassion for yourself and others is huge. And last but not least, laughter, okay? Sense of humor. Do all this and say, oh damn, I fell again. Make it fun. You should see the people at the gym that take these massive falls, 10, 20 feet. They get caught, their partner literally flies up into the air, and they go on. They rest and they go on. It's a beautiful analogy. So here's my piece for you. If you're struggling with making decisions, try to clear the deck, step back, take a breath, become aware of what's speaking to your heart, how you feel if you do it, how you feel if you don't. There's going to be risk, there's going to be loss, but make it a fun process. Be compassionate to yourself, okay? If you enjoy this broadcast, just stick in "way cool" in the comments. share it with people, whatever. Maybe there's a little piece of insight in there that will help. Hey, Rusty, okay, you're going to have to watch the playback. And Art, thank you for checking in. I just finished talking about head and heart and some processes for decision making. I'll post this as soon as I'm done, and eventually I'll put all of these onto a YouTube channel for people who want to catch up on them. So until next week's show, I think I've got a local community guest from Glean who's going to be talking about some of the processes that go on in the community with food resources. I try to bring some piece of personal wisdom here, hopefully, and some community-based stuff to this show, which I call What's Your Why? Okay, so yes, I hope you all catch up, share this post with your friends, and until next week, this is your Pyropassionac Xenul checking out. By the way, if you don't know what a Pyropassionac is, you're looking at the only one that exists, okay? A pyromaniac lights fires, can't help themselves, right? Well, a Pyropassionac ignites the passion within people. That's my job, igniting the passion within you. So go out there, have fun with your decision-making process, access your heart, use your self-awareness, and I'll see you again on the path. Thanks for joining.